They think you're in control. They see you walking, talking, and existing, but they don't see the ghost pulling your strings. You aren't being haunted by a spirit. You're being haunted by the man you used to be. Every time you choose comfort over the crucible, that old version of you wins. But here's the joke. That version of you is already dead weight. And if you don't kill it once and for all, it's going to drag your future into the grave with it. Welcome to Phantom Focus. We start with a brutal truth. The world doesn't care about your intentions, only your results. Your old habits are a bad joke designed to keep you predictable and manageable. They are the bars of a cage you chose to live in. Today, the performance ends. We are performing a mercy killing of your current identity to make room for a version of you that is absolutely unshakable. It's time to burn the old mindset to the ground. To kill the old you, you must first understand how it survives. Your brain is not your ally in this fight. It is an efficiency machine designed for survival, not greatness. Neurobiologically, your habits are encoded directly into the basal ganglia, creating a habit loop that functions like a biological cage. It starts with a cue, a trigger in your environment, followed by a routine, and finally, a reward. This loop is designed to save energy by putting your life on autopilot, but for most, that autopilot is set to a destination of total stagnation. But this isn't just biology, it's a trap. We live in a world governed by a social script that functions as a form of psychological warfare. Common habits like procrastination, digital distraction, and people-pleasing are the weapons used to keep you predictable and manageable. The system rewards your docility, because a man who is distracted by a screen or paralyzed by the need for approval is a man who is easy to control. Procrastination isn't laziness. It is a resistance disguised as comfort, a stealth payoff that lets you avoid the discomfort of growth. This brings us to a cold, Machiavellian insight. If you're good at something, never do it for free. Your potential is the only real currency you have in this world. Every time you indulge in an old habit for a cheap hit of dopamine, you are giving away your future for nothing. You are allowing a parasitic version of yourself to steal your evolution. You are operating under a moral code of comfort that was designed to keep you poor, weak, and forgotten. Before we move to the mercy killing, look at your daily routine and ask yourself this diagnostic question. Is this habit an act of self-love, or is it an act of self-sabotage? Be honest. If you aren't building a fortress, you're digging a grave. To build a fortress, you must first clear the ruins. Most people are afraid of the wrecking ball. But as the Joker says, someday someone will break you so badly that you'll become unbreakable. Here's the secret the world doesn't want you to know. That someone has to be you. If you wait for life or your enemies to break you, they'll do it on their terms, leaving you a victim of circumstances. But if you take the hammer yourself, you control the shattering. You get to decide which pieces are worth keeping and which are just dead weight that needs to be discarded. This is why we move beyond the soft, passive version of healing. Healing implies you want to go back to who you were before the damage. It's a restoration project for a building that was never meant to stand. But at Phantom Focus, we don't want to restore the old you. That version of you was the one who allowed yourself to be exploited. We don't heal. We burn the old mindset to the ground. Real growth isn't about moving with grace through a storm. It's about being the storm. It's about realizing that the pieces you pick up shouldn't be put back in the same order. We call this the alchemy of pain. Every humiliation, every betrayal, and every no you've ever heard isn't a reason to retreat. It's high-octane fuel for your new, ruthless routine. They taught you pain. Now, you teach them regret. You aren't just enduring the pressure of your failures. You are using that pressure to crystallize. You are shaping yourself into a version that never folds, never begs, and it never settles for less than absolute dominance. This leads us to the one bad day rule. The world thinks a total collapse is a tragedy, but when you finally stop playing by their rules, you realize it's actually a comedy. Madness is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. Once you push yourself over the edge of your old limitations, you finally see the punchline. Their morals, their code, it's all just a bad joke. Your life isn't a tragedy anymore because the person who was the victim in that story is dead. You've performed the mercy killing, and in his place stands the one who finally knows the joke. Once you've burned the old you to the ground, the world will come looking for the ash. They'll want to know where you went, why you changed, and how you're doing it. Your answer must be a deafening silence. It is time to go ghost. Most people fail because they cannot stop leaking their potential. They announce their new diet, their new business, or their new mindset, desperate for a like or a good job. That is the trap of validation. A dangerous man knows that applause is a sign of weakness. If you need their approval to start, you will need their permission to continue. You must learn to work in the shadows, where the only noise is the sound of your results shattering their expectations. This leads us to the core of your new existence: virtue camouflage. Machiavelli taught that a prince must appear ethical, kind, and moral, even if he must make ruthless choices behind closed doors. You look like you are still playing their bad joke of a game. You smile, you nod, and you follow the social scripts. But internally, you are operating with absolute Stoic discipline. You are a silent prince in a room full of court jesters. While everyone else is screaming for attention, you are calculating your next move. The weapon that secures this power is emotional coolness, or what psychologists call Machiavellian avoidance. Most people are reactive puppets. If someone disrespects them, they snap. If they lose a resource, they panic. But you have mastered the art of not being fooled. You stop reacting and start calculating. This mindset captures a misanthropically driven prevention of loss. You become hypervigilant to threats and mistrusting of generic platitudes. When someone tries to bait you into an argument, you don't defend yourself. You use that moment to profile them. You do not get angry. You get information. Your silence after disrespect is the deadliest weapon in your arsenal. It tells them that you are no longer a civilized person waiting for their approval. You are a storm they didn't see coming. To build an empire from the ash, you must understand that discipline is not a feeling, it is war. In the Machiavellian sense, your mind is a city under siege, and your habits are your troops. As the captain of this fortress, you must realize that unchecked soldiers cannot follow the orders of a wise captain. If you cannot control your urges and fears, they will seize the throne of your life. Most people rely on the myth of willpower, but willpower is a short-lived spark that dies when you are tired. True discipline is a government secret of the self. It is about building dikes to hold back the raging flood of fate. Forget about setting goals. Goals are for dreamers who still believe in the fairy tale of one day. Conquerors focus on systems. The brutal reality is that you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If your system is designed for comfort and social approval, you will stay weak regardless of your intentions. You must automate your evolution so that greatness becomes the only inevitable outcome. To trigger this shift, you must identify your keystone habit, the one dangerous change that forces everything else into alignment. Whether it is strategic silence, physical grit, or extreme focus, this habit is your lead soldier. Motivation is a Trojan horse in your pursuit of ownership. It makes you wait for a feeling that may never come. Instead, commit to the grind of pain, because every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are building an unstoppable version of yourself. Finally, you have one choice: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One forges an unshakable inner authority. The other forges a forlorn pariah left behind in the ruins. Choose to callous your mind daily by doing the one thing that terrifies you. This is the only way to ensure that when the world tries to break you, it finds a monster it can no longer control. The old world is ash. The version of you that was addicted to comfort, begging for social approval, and following the bad joke of a mediocre status quo is officially dead. Do not visit its grave. You are the architect of your own fate now. The performance is over. The cold, calculated evolution has begun. If you've decided to kill your old self tonight, leave a comment below with the word unstoppable. Reclaim your aura. Reclaim your future. Let the world wonder why you went quiet. Then let them tremble when they finally see what you've become in the shadows. Subscribe if you're ready to rise from the wreckage with us. Welcome back to the return of Phantom Focus. We're just getting started.